the Encore for the Nonce. He's doing one of those asides. Large amounts of money create dazzling expectations. This has broken the bond between the expectation of reason, the natural expectation and excitement by the presentation of a new idea, a new approach, what have you. And the problem with this goes back to the idea of what is represented by Simon Legree. Now, the Federalist Party was opposed to slavery, and of course Thomas Jefferson compromised with slavery in order to become elected. And arguably, the only interest that he really had in the First Amendment was in the use of broadsides in order to destroy the Federalist Party. Now, I'm not intimately familiar with the opposition to slavery, but I know that one of the criticisms of whence this opposition evolved into is the idea that, which was even furthered and even echoed by slaveholders themselves, who tried to convince people that the best way, you could get the best work out of your slaves by treating them in a humane manner. Provide decent living quarters, food, clothing, and so on, rather than someone like Simon Legree, who would just work them mercilessly and expend as little as possible in their care and maintenance. It's from these ideas where opposition to such things as minimum wage arises. Now, you could say, well, this us against them situation originated with, in modern times, Richard M. Nixon's Omnibus Safe Streets and Crime Prevention Act of 1968, which was introduced with the words, as I recall, the peace forces as against the criminal forces. But it really extends further back than that. It goes to this idea of something that my mother's attorney had once told me. I was having difficulty with these people one time, and they were clearly wrong, and everybody realized that they were wrong, and I asked him, why do these people persist? And he said, because they think that they're right. Well, the people in the South that had slaves looked at it as a means to realize their enlightened position of the purpose in life is to render it more pleasant and agreeable. Slavery allows us to live a leisurely existence. We don't have to toil. We don't have to work. Our slaves do it for us. Whereas this other force, or this other group, association, corporation, however you want to look at it, approach the matter as people have to be free. They're not going to be productive. They're not going to amount to anything unless they are free. Well, things didn't quite work out the way that either side expected, except I think that the South won out more than the North did, because all of the people that were imported into the United States after whenever it was, 1800 or whenever the Constitution provides, Jefferson was president then. So, you know, the slave trade was domestic. There were no slaves legally imported into the United States after 1803 or something. But the people that were imported into the United States were what we refer to now as immigrants, the Statue of Liberty, you know. So instead of saying, oh, Lord forbid that black people as slaves built the United States of America, which is true in really in so many ways, they would say, well, the immigrants did it. The Statue of Liberty, you know, give me your poor, or whatever it is, the huddled masses. These people were treated in some ways, I hate to say this because I don't want to, you know, sound degrading, but in some ways worse than slaves. You know, you're going to make bread for me. You laid your pallet down on the floor here. I'll let you sleep on the floor in exchange for you kneading bread, kneading my bread. Things like that. So it was really that sort of relationship that created the us against them, because you had these two factions of the settled class, the landed gentry, the capitalists, I suppose you could refer to them as that, that felt as though, in some regards, we are America. This is our country. All these other people are just, they're you know, one step up from slavery. They're imported. So it's us against them. And in terms of this situation with the 99%, I think that that's an apt way of viewing this. There used to be criticism when we're in the Northeast here. This place I'm from is very, it was always very racist. There was a great deal of excitement when George Wallace was running for president. In fact, there used to be Ku Klux Klan rallies in back of me up on the hill. They used to burn crosses. I saw Muddy Waters in Binghamton in 1977. His bus was leaving. There's 3 crosses burning on the hill. They had Klan meetings in the next county, Tioga County. So people in the South used to criticize people in the North, and they were, in that regard, they were correct, because there is and there was a lot of racism that existed up here. But there's also these feelings of animosity towards immigrants too. The immigrants classes, people that aren't. I hate to get into religion, but it's true. People that aren't Presbyterian, to some regard, even Roman Catholics, Roman Catholic Irish, are still discriminated against. There is this feeling of us against them. And if you look at these things, the conservatives and their influence, the payments of money and breaking the bonds between humanity, because this bond of humanity extends beyond anything that has to do with religion or geographical boundaries or anything like that. It transcends everything. It's the one influence that makes us human beings. That's really what they're trying, that's what they're trying to destroy, and they do it with this idea of heritage. It's our heritage, or it's a custom, which 42 U.S.C. 1983 tried to address, but you know, those conservatives on the court would never allow that. So there's so much more to say, and you know, it's difficult to just do this extemporaneously, but a lot of times these ideas are easier to get out by just speaking, by just doing these video blogs. It's very useful. And eventually these things will be refined by myself, refined by others. Their common thoughts and their common ideals. I mentioned before this megalomaniacal ideal. You know, you see something that you wrote or something that you thought or something you said, and you think, oh, they stole it from me. You know, we're having this controversy recently with some sort of copyright law. I myself like to post songs from YouTube on various websites, which in some regards, you can't do that anymore. I don't know if I agree with that or not. I don't really want to get into that or not, but it's something pertinent, it's something that's happening now. And I don't know. I don't know why I even mentioned that, but I guess as a final note here, because I can't even remember what the hell I've been talking about, actually. This whole thing with the with the us against them, the conservatives, the landed gentry, the status quo, however you want to look at it. These people with these tools that they used for, to break these bonds, referring to them as communists or whatever, as a result, they've really they've self-lobotomized themselves. They have no clue, they have no soul, because they are without reason. So inevitably, we won, because they have to follow us. They have absolutely no choice. But here's the important thing to remember, so that we don't go megalomaniacal or egotistical. It's not actually us that they'll be following. You want to avoid this us against them thing. You want to avoid, hey, we won the election, we rule now, and all that kind of thing. Because really all that we're doing is placing people on the path of reason. It's a just goal. And as long as we don't allow ourselves to be corrupted with gadgetry or whatever else, however else these things are sold, marketing techniques and so on and so forth, this just goal can never be defeated. It is absolutely invincible.